Are we good again? Welcome to the town Select Board Meeting, June 13th, to the order.
William Cottrell.
The pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Yeah. I know, but never sit down. You sit down over here.
All right, approval of agenda, public comment, approval of minutes, warrants, liquor and or tobacco licensing, correspondence, letters for the Conservation Commission from Steve Zellman, and ARPA funds request from Oak Hill Children's Center, updates from town officials, blacktop bids, budget adjustment discussion, town-owned mobile home discussion, updated policies, law enforcement invite to bid discussion, discussion with the town constable regarding current role and possible addition of duties, and position discussion and future plan, public comment, executive for personnel if needed, and adjourn.
So moved.
Second it.
Any corrections, additions, discussion? All those in favor? Any public comment, Hannah?
I have one. Commander Steve McKay requests the pleasure of your company at the dedication of the ship anchor USS Aubrey Fitch FFG 34 on Saturday, June 29th, 2024 at 1:00 in the afternoon at the American Legion Post 90 in Pownell, Vermont, in memory of Bruce Martell, Vice Commander, Post number 90, and John J. LaPearl, Legion member. Reception will follow immediately. Please be by June 15th. And that's for the board. Thank you.
Okay, yep.
Any more public comment? Approval of minutes. Minutes for
So moved.
Second it.
corrections, additions, changes? If none, I'll entertain a motion to,
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Minutes of May 30th, 2024.
Is that the 31st?
I don't think it's the 31st. I think it was the.
Oh, mine says the 31st. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at payroll. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. Looking at payroll.
Don't be jumping ahead.
Sorry.
Stop cheating.
I'm sorry. So moved.
Do I have a second? Any corrections, additions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Warrants, accounts payable, May 31st,
Sorry.
$70,001.01.
So move.
Second.
Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Accounts payable, June 7th, $64,074.20.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I don't have an amount for the June 14th.
Yeah, sorry, that was my bad. We weren't able to get the checks printed before tonight's meeting, so it's next week's meeting.
Oh, that's what I thought. I didn't see it there, so. Payroll, May 31st, $11,744.21.
So moved.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Payroll, June 7th, $13,159.09.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Payroll, June 14th, $11,961.84.
So moved.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Liquor and tobacco licensing. I have application for Royal Enfield, the Bennington County, Vermont, Route 346. Second class license number 8.
Oh, okay, second. I got one quick question though. What does second class mean? As in, it's just, is it liquor and
No, they're separate.
They're separate. That's what, first class is liquor, second class is beer?
No, it's the other way around. Second class is beer, first class is cigarettes, tobacco.
Oh, okay, all right.
And I'm not sure what marijuana is. I'm not positive.
It gets you high, but other than
No,
that, I
no,
don't
no,
know.
what they're calling it.
I have a motion, I have a second on the floor, right? Or.
Yeah.
All those in favor? Usually have somebody in the correspondence, I've viewed the first few meetings with interest, though I don't find the 5/14 meeting posted yet. Haven't viewed any in present tense and expect you may have found someone by the current meeting. My credentials aren't extensive, hold an associate's degree in rural resource management from Sterling College, Crafts Very Common. I have some training in herbology from Rosemary Gladster's apprentice program in the early nineties and attended New Alchemy Institute semester program in sustainable design at Falmouth, Mass in 1988. Though this organization disbanded by 91 or 92. I own a large property on Carpenter Hill Road in Pownell with my mother, Jane Schmay. Have a current interest in preserving it with the purpose of using a significant portion for a green burial ground. I mentioned this in spirit that it may constitute a significant distraction to my service, but I'm optimistic this personal project might be compatible to serving on Pownell's Conservation Commission, in that my personal interests might overlap some of the commission's goals and purposes. Though obviously I wouldn't want to be co-opting the commission's activities, I imagine I might get some ideas on how to proceed with my personal initiative via participating with the Conservation Commissions. Thanks for any consideration, Stephen Zellman. Board's pleasure.
Still have openings, correct?
I think there's one. Is that
Yeah.
one open?
We don't have any others,
We don't have any others.
so make a motion to accept the application.
I'll second it.
I have a motion in a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
He'll bring a different
Yep.
set of knowledge to the.
Second one is from the Oak Hill Children's Center. I understand that there might be ARPA funds available that have not been allocated on behalf of the Oak Hill Children's Center. I respectfully request that we be placed on the agenda for the next meeting. Attached is a copy of the letter we sent in February. Our need continues to exist and I would like to present updated information and purpose. The work of our educators and staff at Oak Hill Children's Center is precious and valuable. We are asking that you support them by allocating ARPA funds to Oak Hill Children's Center so we may continue to provide this essential and critical service to families and children of Pownell. Lynn Frost, Treasurer, Oak Hill Children's Center. And I don't have the attachment here. I think the decision that we've made on ARPA funds, I think we're still waiting on final numbers, right? Joel's with us tonight from Joel Bennington from the road foreman. We're still waiting on final numbers on a garage / wash building rate. So I think that needs to be put on hold until we find out what that's gonna entail to get that taken care of.
Okay.
I agree.
Unfortunately, we don't have those numbers available yet, so not much we can do with that one. We can certainly take the request into consideration, but
Yep.
you know, right now we're on hold because we're waiting for those numbers to come in for, and I think we have some numbers, but we're just not totally where we want to be at, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, updates from town officials. Excuse me, this is from Parks and Rec. The third annual Celebrate Pound Day hosted by Faith Church, sorry, a little tongue tied tonight. Faith Church is slated for Saturday, July 27th from 11 to 3 at the field behind the fire station near the intersection of 346 and Church Street. This event serves an important role in connecting Pownell residents of all ages and strengthening our community cohesiveness and pride. Parks and Rec will once again be hosting a town picnic at the event free of charge. The event will also feature new and returning local community groups, organizations, and vendors, as well as many fun, no-cost activities for families to enjoy. There is a select board to mark your calendars. This is one of the town's largest gatherings of the year. If you'd like to help with the town picnic, please feel free to reach out to Jennifer directly. Jennifer, this is from the highway department. We received bids for blacktopping this year. Oh, no, wait a minute, sorry, that's 11. I think that's the only report from town official. I'm sorry,
That's what's under your page.
I was jumping. Not trying to push things, but I was jumping around. We don't have anything else from town officials. So we're gonna jump into blacktop bids. Whoops, did I hear something?
Yeah, did you want any updates out of?
Yeah, go ahead. That's right. Sorry.
It's not Tara talked about, and, I don't think we've been communicating a lot and sending out general updates, but, it's been a little bit of a slower winter. Which is okay. Last month I had 3 service calls. This month we're up to just 1 right now. Upcoming projects this month, into next month, I volunteered services down at the block party happening the end of next week. And for Pownell Day, traffic control, general safety, security detail there. That's really it so far as summer warms up.
So the block party is a rescheduled date, right? Wasn't that supposed to happen?
I believe it's next Friday.
But it was supposed to happen the 8th, I think, right?
Yeah, there's some moving around is my
Yeah, because of
understanding.
the weather, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, tomorrow I'm meeting.
Sure it was the same thing.
Yeah, tomorrow I'm meeting down at the library and going over the parking plan with them. We're gonna be
Okay.
doing some traffic stuff, trying to keep it tight there.
Okay. Perfect. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, no,
Yeah, thank you for jumping in.
absolutely.
11, blacktop bids. From Joel, we received bids for blacktopping this year and opened them Monday the 10th. They were as follows: Fuller Sand and Gravel, $96.50 per ton for both. And the black, so first I'm gonna start with what we're gonna be paving. We will be paving Maple Grove Road from Jackson Cross to the new section of 981 Pit Road, which is the shop. It is about a mile, 5,280 feet by 22 feet wide, about 1,450 tons. We are also paving West Meadow Court. It is about 2,280 feet by 18 feet wide, about 890 tons. The total paving will be around $230,000. We have $192,000 in the budget, and the state through a class 2 paving grant will pick up $100,000 of it for Maple Grove. Fuller Sand and Gravel was $96.50 per ton for both Maple Grove and West Meadow Court. Peckham Industries was $95.50 for West Meadow and $107.50 for Maple Grove Road per ton. Wilk Paving was $99.65 per ton for both Maple Grove and West Meadow Court. Basin Brothers was $99.20 for both West Meadow and Maple Grove. Any questions on the bids for Joel?
My only question is, why would they be two different amounts?
I'm not sure
Oh,
why
okay, I
they,
thought maybe it was because of the base or something.
Trucking.
well, the West Meadow is gonna be 3.5 inches.
Mhm.
It'll be full on top of dirt. Where Maple Grove's gonna be a shim and overlay,
Okay,
probably 2.5 inches. It's kind of an estimate. You don't really know what they're gonna use for tonnage until they do. They were pretty much in line with what I figured.
I was just curious why they were two different amounts from the same company for two different jobs.
Yeah, well, when I put it out for bid, I put it out by road.
Mhm. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have any questions for Joel and then I'll get into his recommendation, or he can get into his recommendation. That's fine.
That's all I was gonna ask for.
Well, I
Recommendation.
recommend going with Fuller Sand and Gravel for $96.50 per ton.
I didn't even look at that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I know it's that. That was gonna be a.
That's, yeah,
Yeah, so it's kind of,
yeah. Yeah.
he was okay there, but he was about 100 ton.
He's 100 ton off, so, well,
Well, from what I.
10%, let's
From
say.
what I figured and from what everybody else figured.
Yeah. Little less than 10%.
Everybody else seemed to be within reason, the
Yeah.
same amount of tonnage, except for Basin seemed to be.
In what I figured too, so.
Okay.
And the ton, and the bid is for the ton, the price per ton, because we have an approximate, but we don't know specifically how many tons we're gonna need
Well, not,
until we use it.
yeah, not till you lay it down because.
Yes.
You know, you can go out there and try to lay a straight edge across and measure the wheel ruts here and there. I mean,
But you can't do that.
or you can, yeah,
Or just,
some places are deep, some they're not.
It's all a guesstimate. What's the board's pleasure? We have Joel's recommendation here, so.
Make a motion to use solar per our road foreman recommendation.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? Any more questions on that?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Perfect.
Fuller also is all virgin mix, where if they get it out of Peckham's, there's 15% wrap in it.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Nice.
He's doing Bennington too, so he'll kind of work it in because he has to come back and forth.
Okay, yeah.
So he'll work us and it'll work out pretty good.
Yeah, Bennington has some pretty major projects going on right now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good to have the competition.
One of them I deal with every day.
Yes.
We are grading. The grade is by. Yeah. Built up, you got stuff to.
I sent Karen some stuff on some grants that are being offered, just started from the state of Vermont. I don't know if you've gotten that yet or not.
I do get some of them.
Okay, that was specifically for like washed out roads and stuff,
Yeah.
North Pownell. So. To you. Oh, it's crazy right now, so,
I can sit down and read them.
no, but I get a chance, I'll send that to you.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Joel.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Budget adjustment discussion and possible action with the, which is Ellen. Front center.
Front Center. Hi, guys.
Hi.
So in doing the app that is pretty much almost wrapped up, we found, actually, they, RH, what are they called? RH Smith, I think, or something like that. Anyway, we had bought in FY 23, we tried getting computers for the board from Dell. We had it with Dell, checks went out, they came back, they didn't take them, we didn't have an account check, cashed them, never got computers, so they sent us back money. They sent us back money August, I don't really remember when. So we got them, I accrued it back into FY 23, I missed it. Haven't been to come forward and say, but, so we had already done our budgeting and everything, and it would change some numbers. is to do a budget adjustment in FY '24. And what they had now was 6,700.
Good to go?
On my end, this is.
We got audio, so.
Okay,
We apologize, our Wi-Fi keeps kicking out here tonight, so.
so the check amount was $6 for the check. I put it under miscellaneous because it's just something that a whole new line. for. So the suggested that I do a budget adjustment. And what I do is I increase the budget by the 6,700 for the revenue side, the miscellaneous revenue, and I increase the expense line by the 6,700 where it was taken from. It's one hand washes the other. Our budget's really not increasing. It's just I took in money and it didn't get put back in FY '23, so we're leveling it out. It was their suggestion. If it was $100,000, something that I didn't accrue, we would have had to fix a lot of things, but because it's a small amount, this was their suggestion to do because of all the budgeting, everything had been done, or we had voted and done everything and our budgets have passed. So that's what I'm here for. I'm just here to ask you for the approval to do this budget. It's in my general ledger right now. It's just not marked as approved, so it hasn't been put to the books. So I just need somebody to sign this that says that you don't have a problem with the suggestion of the external auditor.
Board's pleasure.
So make a motion to approve the recommendation of the line item, budget line items per our external auditor and our treasurer.
Second.
Any more discussion on that? Everybody
Should we put the
on that?
amount in for the amount of 6,700?
67,3647.
Thank you.
We should add that amount to the motion, please.
Yes.
No more discussion on that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Alan.
Thank you. If you just sign that, and I'll be very happy. Then I can,
Doesn't, oh, up here.
yeah, just sign on the line if you would, please. Then I can scan it in and give it to them tomorrow and
Then that's done.
then that's done.
All cleaned up.
Thank you so much.
ma'am. Have a great evening, guys.
Later.
Alan, can you just,
Just stay for 1 second.
for the next one, which is the town-owned mobile homes? Just. Just in case there's questions.
Yes.
That's all.
I know.
You know,
I didn't know that was on the agenda.
yeah, just in case there's any questions on there.
Nope, that's-
I don't anticipate anything, but just.
That's okay.
So we own two mobile homes. One at 214 Sunflower, one at 380 Chickadee Drive. The parcel ID and stuff is on the sheet. Everybody saw that?
Yep.
Here are the amounts paid so far on the two trailers that Black Horse Property Management would like to take over. The board decides to keep these trailers. We are on the hook for lot rent, removal of belongings, and the removal of the trailers. Told that both of these trailers are in bad condition, but I have not seen them myself. This is from Tara, actually, if she hasn't seen them. Attached are the two tax collector deeds. 2022 taxes are $388.91. 2023 taxes are $346.28. Tax sale amount is $1,246.39. Total the town has spent so far is $1,981.58. My recommendation is to do both of these separately. just so that we're square
Yes,
on everything, right, Ellen, is that?
yes, I would do both of them separate.
If we want to turn the ownership of these two trailers, please use the parcel IDs and take action in open session to allow this to happen. So what's your pleasure? I know that this is a question for you, Ellen, actually. Do you remember what it cost us for the last one that we did down there?
We were gonna look that up.
$8,000.
I think it was over
It was over
$8,000.
This is the rent, so we haven't paid rent since we took this over because we've been trying to work with them, so they've been kind enough not to have us pay rent till we saw this.
Right.
But the last one, we had to pay the rent. We paid for
Clean up.
demolition, cleanup.
Yeah, it was over $8,000.
That was over 8,000 for one.
Yes.
For one.
Legal fees as far as eviction.
Oh, we had, yes, there was.
Eddie and I went down there several times and tried to make the connection. I just know there was, I knew it was over, I thought there was a lot, it was over $8,000.
It was a lot of money. So this one at, what was it, 1,900?
Yeah,
Yeah, almost 2,000, 1981 and change.
I mean, I would,
so they just want us to turn it over to them free of charge, correct?
Correct.
All
we
right,
would just have to make I don't know exactly what has to be done, probably a mobile home bill of sale to them. I
Mhm.
think they're gonna deal with demolition or whatever they wish to do with it at that time.
okay.
But it's not in a PTR or whatever, but
And they've done the eviction on the people that were.
they're working on what they have to, right.
Yeah,
They,
That's a no-brainer. That's a
this is a
no-brainer.
no-brainer.
right,
So I make a motion that we turn over 214 Sunflower parcel to the owners of the park.
Will you read the parcel ID, please?
should say.
So.
Parcel ID. And so far we've spent 58 cents. But I moved it.
Do we know the official name of the new park owners?
We're turning it over to Black Horse Management.
Okay,
Are you turning it over to states? Because Pownell, Black Horse works for Pownell Estates.
Sorry, we're losing our internet.
So Black Horse Management works with Pownell Estates for Pownell Estates.
okay.
Pownell Estates
Which
is
is
the name of the park.
Patriot Holdings.
Patriot.
Yeah.
Right, but it's named Pownell Estate. We build
So all
homes.
estates in care of Black Horse, do I have that backwards? Just, you know what I'm trying to say?
In care of, yes.
Black Horse Management,
Yeah, that's fine.
okay. I just want.
I would just put all those, they're all together, right, because they're helping the park, Pownell Estates clean up the park.
So the motion is to turn over to parcel ID AGE 32. 214 Sunflower to Pownell Estates in care of Black Horse Property Management.
That's correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Yep.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second it.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
380 Chickadee Drive, 2022 taxes. I don't need to go through the whole tax, and all that. The total. The town has spent on that property is $2,101. Parcel E, 10.
I make them over parcel IDH 10. Sorry. 10, 3 Chickadee Drive.
I'll second that.
Sorry.
I have a motion, I have a second, more discussion on that. All in favor?
Aye.
No.
Yes.
All set again. All right. Next on the agenda is, we'll get there. Updated policies review and approvals. I'm gonna start with the treasurer specific policies. I'm not gonna read each one word for word. I'm gonna just say what they are. We have the fund balance policy, reconciling fund balance, fund reimbursement, collector of delinquent taxes policy, collection of delinquent sewer policy, reconciling fixed assets to net position policy, check release policy, bond recording policy. Those are treasurer specific. I hope everyone had time to read them.
Yep.
What's your pleasure on these policies? Treasurer specific.
I say so moved on all of them.
Well, that's what, yeah, I'd like them,
Can we do them collectively?
that's what I would like to do. yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
second, that motion.
So my only question is that we adopt it and when would you like it to be reviewed?
So, okay, good question, Edie. These are March of 2027. Let me make sure they're all the same
Okay, as
here.
long as they're all the same.
That's what I'm making sure of. Good question. No. The delinquent tax collector ones look like they're 2026. Treasurer are 2027. Good question. So maybe we should do them
All in 20.
separately.
By
Do the
year.
treasurer ones and then do the delinquent tax collector ones.
Okay.
So, you send your motion.
Yes, I rescind my motion.
Second,
All right. I'll entertain a motion to approve the treasurer specific policies that are up for review in March of 2027 for the next review.
So moved.
second,
Any more discussion on those? All those in favor? All right, now delinquent tax collector policies. They are up for review in, that's a treasurer one. The two delinquent tax collector ones are up for review in 2026. I'll entertain a motion for those two.
So moved.
second,
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Please sign these before we leave tonight.
we all gotta sign them?
Yeah, we'll do it after the meeting.
Yep.
Okay, no, that's fine.
Um. These are policies. That we've been over. These do not have a review date. I'm just checking to make sure none of them have a review date.
Should we make the review date for them?
I believe we should. So we'll do these. There are four of them, I believe. I just counted. I lost count, Carl. There's five. Good thing I recounted.
Okay.
We'll do these specifically so we can put a review date on them. Procedure for board, commissions and or committee meetings.
I move that we review them yearly, because you never know who's gonna be on boards.
So,
Right.
So it would be them
so we'll do the review date on each one specifically. So March
Or
of
April 1st or something. March or April.
April of 2025 for this one.
Yep.
Second,
This is procedure for board commissions and committee meetings. So we won't sign these tonight because we won't have the, review date. It'll be just
won't be fine.
handwritten in.
Yep.
So we will sign these five if we approve all five at the next regular board meeting.
Okay, yep.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So I have a motion for this one in a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? The mission and vision statement of the select board.
I think that should be reviewed yearly as well, with each select board being different.
Any more discussion? Any comments? I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Next review date will be April of 2025. All those in favor?
Aye.
Conflict of interest.
The same.
Yeah, exactly the same.
Review that annually.
Next review date, April of 2025.
Yep,
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, sorry, just jumping ahead. Cash receipts, petty cash and return check policy. Does that one really need to be reviewed every year or? Or could that one be pushed off? Just a question.
I don't know if we need to do the check policy every year.
Every 2 years.
Every 2 years would be great.
Any more discussion on that? I just read the effective dates on the other one, sorry.
Yep.
Any more discussion on the check policy every 2 years? So this one would be April of 2026.
Correct.
Effective date today. Any more?
I make,
Do I have a motion in a second?
I make the motion.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Purchasing policy.
That probably should be yearly. What do you guys think?
I think so.
I mean, it doesn't have to necessarily be changed yearly, right? I mean,
No,
it could
just
come back to the
review.
board.
It's just gonna come back for review.
Next year in April. And
Yeah.
if it's, looks good.
It's
boom, there it is.
another year, yeah.
Done deal.
But then that way it's just.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
updated as needed on a yearly basis.
I have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Effective today, but review every April. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So these can go in that pile,
That path.
this pile. Pile what was out there here?
These are the ones we have to sign.
Hey, relax, I'm doing pretty good here.
Yes, you are.
I know,
Not complaining at all.
I know, and I've got the piles halfway organized. That's a bonus for me. Law enforcement invitation to bid discussion, everybody saw that. My, my suggestion would be to bring this back to the 27th meeting. Unless we can discuss it tonight too. What's everybody's pleasure? The Bennington County Sheriff's Department was the only bidder on this. We did our due diligence to put this out to bid, and
Yep.
they were the only agency to bid. Does not mean we have to take them. We are not obligated, but their contracted price is $72.50 per hour. And then there's a fuel price in there, fuel surcharge. It's a standard contract. It's not. I didn't notice anything real crazy. The contract is from July 1st, 2024 to July 1st, 2025. It's what we've been doing. The only problem is on this, their invitation to bid. on this contract. It's for 30 hours a week. We did not budget 30 hours a week. We budgeted. Give me a second.
Well,
Let's, hang on a minute. No, I think we budgeted 94,000 if I remember right,
Yeah.
25 hours a week.
right, but we need to also remember that not all of that budgeted money is going for patrols.
That's correct. Unfortunately,
We have no control over that.
and I I think cutting the patrol hours, my personal opinion is cutting the patrol hours by 5 hours a week. There's already a substantial amount of cut. So if we were to cut the number of patrol hours from, we're already, budget reasons say we're cutting it 5 hours.
Okay.
Right? If we were to cut it an additional, say, 3 hours a week to offset the other things that happen, I'm not sure that's a responsible thing.
But we also don't want to turn around and be in a position next year like we are this year.
But it's hard to foresee.
I understand that. As I say, the only control we have is the patrol hours.
The only other thing we have though, Carl, is we generally speaking in the last however many years, we are able to put back monies that aren't spent into our budget. Right? We have leftover monies from other places. So cutting the hours from 30 to 25 already brutalizes me. And Eddie, you're a town constable, you know, I would definitely take your input on this, but cutting the hours from 30 to 25 is already a pretty
Yeah.
brutal cut.
Yeah.
You know, for the safety and stuff. Unfortunately, we're financially driven, right? So we have to do something to be financially responsible. And I know that's where you're coming from.
That's where I'm coming from.
I know it is.
If I could turn around, I would do this, I would do 40 hours.
Yeah,
But
I do more. Well,
Um,
That's right. So, I think we need to bring this back to the 27th. I think we need to,
Yes.
as a person, reflect on this, read it, absorb it, think about it,
yes,
right? And then,
Is there a way to average for the month? So if we say, week 1, you take calls. Week 2, maybe
I don't-
up it to 10 hours a week. Week 3, you're up to 25 hours a week.
Control hours you're talking about.
Your average, you figure your average 30 hours per week, 4 weeks in a month. But you just, because that way they could, at the end of the month, and it's something you'd have to see with them if they would have the coverage to do it with their officer. But like if you last week, they hammer and pound all week long, if they've got extra time not used in the first
See,
couple
that-
of weeks.
As far as scheduling goes, that
It covers emergencies for the first couple of weeks, but then,
what's that?
so if you average, so like they only take the first week, they would only take emergency calls per se.
No 911 calls. This contract is a non-911 call contract.
but trying to, I think even Mike would agree, trying to schedule individuals in that
your
concept.
staff would be tough.
They had, and right,
That's not a fair thing to attempt to schedule.
just, right, but that was what the contract was last year for non-911 calls.
No, I'm talking about what
He's saying, yes,
as far as, pay or
Scheduling.
doing a sliding scale of hours,
correct.
I think is what you're
Yeah.
attempting to do. So then do bulk hours at the end of the month if you had extra.
You still average.
Trying to
the same amount a
schedule
month.
individuals that
The
way.
only downside I see to that, Bill, is that for the first 3 weeks of the month, it could be wild west on all the roads, right? Because everybody.
Right.
They'll figure it out. They'll figure it out in about 2 months. They'll figure it all
I
out.
was gonna say, a couple months in, there's no sheriff anywhere to be seen, at any time, right? But the last week of the month, they're right here pounding because they didn't use a lot of hours.
Yeah.
So they're right here. So, that's all well and good because maybe the last week of the month, it's the quietest town in the world, but. I know you are. I know, and that's.
There's no fix for it.
And I love the open discussion. I love having that.
Those, hey, ask the questions.
Right, right, because I don't think there's a single one of us sitting here that would say, who cares how much?
Nobody wants to cut it.
Nobody wants to cut it, that's right. We would love to increase the number of hours. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
Right, there's no doubt. And in our budget, we already, overshot last year's by, this year we're trying to, we're budgeted for 25 patrol hours per week. And I believe we can still stay with that. Their 15% of the scope of service will occur during late afternoons, evening shifts and weekends.
How much is this year's budget? Versus what, the budget we have right now that we've overspent? How close is that to what we're budgeting for next year?
Not.
Oh,
Our budget that we're operating on until the end of this month is, don't quote me on this because there's a lot of numbers there, but I believe it was around 65,000. Does that sound right?
right, but right. And we were,
Yeah.
It's not, I'm not too far off.
and we were over what, 30?
I think we're gonna be over
30 by the time we're all said and done.
$25,000 to $30,000 over budget on that, unfortunately. So that's hence the 5-hour-a-week cut.
Right.
And the 94,000 covers our patrol hours, contracted patrol hours. So we hope that everybody's a really good citizen and they don't do anything bad and need the sheriff.
Question I have is, and I know we can't answer that here, it might be a question to pose to the sheriffs. I don't know if I want to ask it here or wait till he's here. Can I ask it?
Well, yeah, I think we need to.
Have him come, yes.
We need to invite the sheriff back here on June 27th.
Yeah.
And we need to hash this out. Then I want to open to where we're at and from our standpoint to our residents and taxpayers.
Yes.
That's why
Yes.
this is out there. Go ahead.
Oh, my thoughts was if we get towards to monitor our budget on a quarterly basis. And if we have extra money, then maybe we could increase a patrol during a peak period, a point in time, if you know what I mean.
I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense, Carl. But if for some reason we were at budget or whatever,
We were under budget by, let's say.
I don't see that happening, but if it did.
Let's say by December, we could turn around and say, over the holiday, we'll increase for a couple weeks, an extra 5 hours.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'm sure we could ask that question
Okay.
to Sheriff Gully. I'm sure we could. So I think our budget actually this year is about 75,000. And we're over by at least 10,000 right now with another couple of weeks still to go.
Okay.
And I know they're working on a case. I know they're working on a fairly major case right now in Pownell that's started out, as they said, a snowball and it's now
It's Pownell. Hasn't changed.
They were in my office yesterday, actually. So I want to bring the sheriff contract back on the
Yes.
27th. I would like to invite Sheriff Gully here on the 27th, just for specific questions such as that. And other than that, it's the same contract that we hashed out with him last year. enforcement, the verbiage, it's all the same as what we've already agreed to for this year with sheriff. The same contract we're into, except for some monetary and hourly changes. Anybody have any more comments, questions, anything on this? Everybody I'm sure has read it. Everybody good?
Yep.
Good, awesome. Right pile. Okay. Discussion with our town constable regarding the current role and possible addition of the ACO duties, the animal control officer. Betty?
Yeah, so I had a preliminary discussion with Tara, a couple of weeks back, talking about just the roles and expectations. And, it sounded really in the spirit and pretty close to kind of things I'm doing right now. It's a lot of like non-emergency issues, I was reading up on town ordinances and a lot of it's pretty much like follow up to dog bites, welfare checking, things of that nature. And, I think it'd be feasible to combine the roles, but my ask to Tara and to the board would essentially be, if I assumed animal control duties, I'd be interested in combining budgets, animal control and constable to put to a joint training fund, joint resource. I just think it'd be more efficient for the taxpayers' budgets. I think it'd make more sense kind of combining the roles. They're all non-emergency things right now, as far as I can see. Because it's not a non-humane officer position, correct? Just animal control.
Animal control.
Yeah, okay,
Yep.
so.
Yep.
Yeah, my understanding is it's a lot of follow-up and a lot of investigative duties, not so much emergency respond right now, which also works perfect for my, personal situation. I still have a day job. It pays the bills and yeah, I do the most I can around that job. In the role of constable as a local firefighter. So I would continue that with that addition, if we can figure out how that operates.
I think you're on the right track. I don't know about.
Wish Ellen was still here because I've been a question.
I know, that's exactly what I say. I don't know if we can combine the budgets without. We may be able to do it at budget season, but because we voted on these budgets last year in March, which take effect on July 1. I don't know as we can combine those, but you certainly could draw from both.
You'll have access to both of
You
them.
have access to both budgets. I don't think you have a very big budget anyway for the constable, if anything.
There's a couple little things here and there, like business cards lately would be great. There's many times I'll like make a contact with someone, want to follow up about orders to be served.
Well, I think we certainly could have business cards printed up that say, Eddie Pascucci, town constable and ACO.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Something like that.
I don't think that's a
Yeah,
problem.
I think it'd be more efficient for, rather than.
Right, and I think that was certainly on an ACO.
Exactly, and if you look at a lot of towns around us, like Woodford's one nearby, for example, their constable also serves as the animal control officer. In some towns, it's their only duty, essential function,
Yeah.
so. You'll find that across I found that on a number of towns that have constables serving as animal control.
The only hiccup that I can see is that constable is a voted position. ACO is an appointed position, as far as the budget part.
Yeah, but he
He can have his time as one or the other.
exactly. He
With
would just
no
have to
issue,
keep his-
but as far as trying to combine it is where.
The budget might be a problem.
Right.
That's an Ellen question.
Right.
I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, that's a good thought.
But you certainly, when you're doing ACO duties.
Yeah.
It would certainly come out of the ACO budget.
Right.
Right.
Yep, oh, yeah.
And Jamie's absolutely correct, the pay would come out of the ACO budget when you're doing ACO duty. So.
Right, I just saw it as, and based on what Tara said, there was a lot of room in the budget for things like training development. And I said,
Yeah.
well, I see constables a role that, as you know, severely lacking in a lot of kind of ability and space to do those things. I would love to take it to some places like that. But yeah, that's just the limitation. It seems like similar duties, if they came together, they can really work off each other.
I think we certainly could, in in, when we start doing our budget discussions in, December, we certainly can make, we probably can make an adjustment. But I think Jamie's probably absolutely correct about that though too, because you have an elected position and an appointed position that are combined to the two. Right, so that may,
It would be, yeah.
that may throw a kink in the whole idea. I
Yeah,
don't know, but I think it's probably a workable.
it's worth exploring, yeah.
That's right, definitely.
If you're interested in taking it over, please submit your letter of interest.
Well, he's here, I don't know if we need
Hey,
it.
you don't need a letter. He's already verbally.
Verbally here, but I don't know if you need one in writing.
Yeah,
Well, we could make that too.
I could forward over, yeah, resume, letter of interest, if you guys needed that, just to cover bases. I have updated certifications I have to send over anyway,
Yeah.
so I can include that.
Which kind of would lead right into our next agenda item, our animal control officer open position discussion and future plan. I would, if Eddie were interested in this position, because it is difficult to get people to fill positions. And if he were interested in this and he seems, like he's not gonna bail on the constable position anytime soon, so.
Not at least for until next March.
Yeah, I think combining the two makes total sense, and I think if he's interested in it, then I think appointing him as our animal control officer makes total sense to me. It makes total sense.
Yep, yeah, it does.
I agree. I just have one concern. The animal control or you would never go by each other, right? You'd go with somebody. So now what happens?
Well, yeah, so that's a fair point, and a good question I was gonna ask you guys, I've gone on some calls with Leonard before, just, as I have, with health officers, zoning admin. And then many calls I have not. I've talked to him in passing and he's told me about, calls that were, hairy, so to say, and, I didn't know prior, and so I was gonna ask you guys, who's he be going with? Is,
Do you have a body cam?
I do, yes.
Okay.
That's all, that's, I
As
think,
long as you have a
that's what
body
that's what
cam.
she was worried about.
Yeah,
I see.
I was worried. I just didn't want something to happen to
Yep,
you.
I have a body cam, I use it, I
Perfect.
put all footage onto the computer
Perfect.
after.
If you're going into an area
That you feel uncomfortable with.
that you are uncomfortable with that area, then I feel you should call a member of the board.
Mhm.
Not me. I'm kidding.
No, I'm sorry. I
No,
know.
I was gonna go with that, Jamie. I think we can, I think Eddie's been in the position long enough now, right, as the town constable, so he's got a feel for the town. He's got a feel for what goes on, right? And I don't wanna speak for you, but I'm pretty confident that I'm,
Fair to say, yes.
right? I think if he's in a situation where, he's going into, into a situation, into a call, into an area or whatever, that he already knows is a little touch and go, right?
Mhm.
That he would, get a board member to go with him.
Yep.
I feel very confident that he would do that.
Okay.
I feel very confident that if he was going on a, animal control officer call where it was a cat in a tree, he's probably not calling.
No, I'm just worried about it.
No, I know that, Andrew. I'm kind of, I guess what I'm saying is, I'm putting it on I trust his judgment
Yep.
in this situation because he's been in the,
Okay.
in
And
the.
enough of these situations where he'll know when to call and when not.
Enough to know where he, if he needs somebody to go with him. There's nothing that's more important than his own safety.
Absolutely.
And something I'm recalling, I started discussing with Tara and we both went off to do our research about too, in previous iterations in other towns and constable, some town constables can kind of semi-deputize, and there's language in the state constitution about deputizing another. So, maybe with some more research, it's something we can look into, as a tap in someone who's in good standing, clean background for special occasions, just as an extra +1 to go in.
And that's,
If the research pans out, I'm still looking into that, and I know it's something we used to utilize in town here, under two.
that's a really good idea, actually. If you had another person you're comfortable with in this situation, then.
Yeah, I just, want to be vetted in good standing, and
Yep.
obviously I would prefer to run their name through the board here.
Sure.
Before we just, hey, here you go, come on, come on, let's go.
And I would prefer that.
Yeah.
But I think you're on the right track with that too.
Yeah, I'd hate to call you guys up at night
Yeah.
if, yeah.
But on the flip side of it, I know that, look, you can call me because I'd rather be out there with you than read about you in the paper in the morning.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay,
That's how I feel.
that's, I know it's.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to call you in
No,
those situations.
that's
We've had
right.
A couple night discussions about confusing,
Yep,
areas before.
yep, so. Well, I'm gonna pose the question, are you, willing to take over the animal control officer duties? And if you would like to think about it, then that's fine, and if you're ready to take them over, I'll vote on it tonight and get it done and over with. But I don't wanna force you into it either, I'd rather, if you're
Want to digest.
want to digest it a little bit, think about it, that's totally fine. We can bring it back to the board meeting on the 27th,
Mhm.
and that's totally fine with me.
My instincts say I should digest it. However, I've read the description provided. I've read, I've gone over the ordinances. I feel pretty confident I know, what the job entails. Had a good discussion with Tara. I think we're on the same page. And I want to optimize time. So could I say yes right now and down the road before we invest or do anything,
So let's bring it back,
Say,
let's bring it back to 27th.
27th? Okay.
It's 2 weeks from now, give you 2 weeks to digest.
Okay. I'm even comfortable
Right.
sending it.
I'm a huge fan of what my gut tells me,
Yeah, yeah.
okay? I'm a huge fan of that, so if your gut's telling you to digest it,
Well,
my suggestion would be for you to digest it and
Okay.
go from there.
so would it be beneficial if I just send an email, like say tomorrow too, to confirm or put it in
Yep.
writing and
Yep.
I just want to optimize time in the
Yep.
board. So it's practice.
I have questions about combining them.
Well, I'm not worried too much about the budget, we can't do anything with that
Right
right now.
now, but down
That's-
the road.
that's-
That's a discussion down the road.
Yeah.
Right, well, I guess, questions mainly I had were like duties and I don't know if it's appropriate, board or like
Yeah.
set a separate discussion or.
Do it.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so I see a lot of like time utilized under previous iterations of the role as like dog licensing issues, and I'm trying to approach this position in a mindful way to taxpayer dollar, the town's, budget on what we do with that animal control paid time. And, it sounded to me that priority cases here would be following up on welfare requests, welfare checks, following up on dog bite reports, things like that, like safety hazards. And I guess I just wanted the board's opinion on, dog licensing sees like it's very time intensive, right? But it is in the ordinance and I didn't want to, I guess, overuse any town time going too far down rabbit holes for that kind of an issue as opposed to safety
The
concern.
way I see it, but I could be wrong, is if you get called and there's a dog loose and you catch the dog and it's not licensed, then that's one thing. To go around knocking on doors and asking if people have licensed dogs, no.
Okay, thank you. That's, you said it perfect, Angie, and that's exactly the thing I really don't want to take and do with this role. I really don't. I know it's been thrown out before, and I don't think it's a great use of the town's time or money.
No, I don't think so. I think actually it makes your job harder.
Okay.
But I mean, if you pick up a dog and a dog is not
This is the
licensed.
biggest thing I'm holding on to that, man. That's,
Because,
I think everybody here agrees with that, right?
the last thing, the last thing you want, when you go, it is not conducive to having your citizens cooperative with you. When you go knocking on a door, hey, I see you have a dog. Is that licensed?
Yeah, no.
But I also think that, when you have a habitual offender.
Right, if there's a
But that's
problem.
different, but that's
Yeah,
different.
We have to go in and,
I
right.
think what he's talking about is just cold knocking, going around the.
well, I think Leonard had tried to attempt that, and I think that got shot down. I don't think he was doing that anyway. I do think that, I think Eddie's on the right track, right? We get a loose dog,
Right.
you know, somewhere, doesn't matter where, right? 346 in Main Street.
Sure.
Main, just for pick a spot. And so goes down and investigates the dog, grabs the dog, we bring it over to the kennel. We find out that the dog belongs to Mike Gardner and the dog is licensed. It just didn't have his tags on, right?
Yep.
So, okay, good, here's your dog back, whatever, right? We find out that Mike Gardner's dog's not licensed. The dog's in the kennel until it is properly licensed and whatever, and then go from there.
Yes.
Right, I think that's what we're looking for.
Okay, I'm totally on board with that.
Okay.
Another question too is, as it pertains to, I guess, safety concerns too, when I say a lot of safety concerns, I'm worried about, following up on dog bites. Now, welfare checks, like health of an animal, what kind of discretion does, animal control have? Because I know it's different than humane officer and it's kind of a gray line in some situations from what I've read. What kind of discretion does animal control have in a situation with, a dog improperly cared for? What is the animal
I think you have to report that to,
to a humane officer or a society or?
Yeah.
I don't even,
As
look,
far as I know, we
Do you
don't
have the
have any
paperwork?
authority.
correct.
The town doesn't have any authority to go into someone's house or onto their property and take their dog, as far as I know, without a humane officer
Mhm.
doing it. So an animal control officer cannot do that. Now, I think it's I won't say it's duty, but it's certainly ethical to report that to whoever it needs to be reported to, right? Whether we call the SPCA or whoever we call, right? Dog bites are different, so to speak. Dog bites get handled by the health officer more than they do the animal control officer.
Right, right. I understand.
So, a vicious dog is a totally different thing. That a vicious dog comes to the select board. We impound that dog and it comes right to the board. And then there's a whole, I'm sure you're familiar with that. There's a whole 5 days, 3 days. I think it's 5
Yeah.
days.
Yeah, I read up on that process. It makes sense.
Yep.
It's, I just see this as, when, it's a common thing and I talked to Leonard and I've been on a couple with him, when he was in the role on, welfare check on an animal, reports of, hey, it's chained up. It's like looking malnourished. It doesn't have any access to water, X number of days or something. Fortunately, all those have been good outcomes and just a discussion with the owner, but I guess I'm wondering, where does the duty fall when it's a worst case scenario, when there's no care or improper care?
Well, I don't know.
That goes to humane officer because that's not within your scope.
So it's just a report up and then
That's a
follow
report,
humane
yeah.
officers lead?
They have to bring a vet with them as well.
I think,
So it's definitely, it's not really,
It's not an animal control. I don't want to say it's not, it's, it's gotta go to a humane officer because they're the only ones by state statute that can investigate that.
That, or
And-
you'd have to contact law enforcement.
so here's what I would,
Use case.
right, here's what I would,
Right, that's a criminal offense.
right, if I were the animal control officer, which I was for.
So wasn't I for a while.
Yeah, or whatever. Not officially, but whatever. If you have a dog who's, and I think this goes into discussions and you and I have had, it plays right into exactly how you handle situations anyway. You have a dog who you think is being mistreated, right? The knock on the door first. Right? Hey, here's Pownell's animal control officer. I don't see any water out there for your dog, or we've had several complaints, right? Right, because that's how.
That's the common.
I'm pretty sure you're not gonna drive around and look for this. But we've had several complaints about your dog being chained up with no signs of water.
Mhm.
Right.
And that's a common occurrence, as you've probably seen.
Yeah.
People calling in.
So a simple knock on the door, you say, hey, what's going on? And they say, hey, the water dish is inside the coop. Nobody can see it, but here, walk out with me and here it is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and I see it as a realist too, right? Sometimes if it's a conversation and a good care plan, I'm happy. I think at the end of the day, everyone just wants the best care of an animal.
Right.
But I'm just, I try to also plan for worst case scenarios where, you know, we don't see this plan follow through. We're not seeing improvement, you know, more calls and yeah, I'm curious because I haven't seen that process myself. It's mostly why I ask.
Yeah.
But it
no,
sounds
I-
like reporting to humane officer. And does my role continue? Do I work with that humane officer? Is there more investigative
I would think.
follow-up?
Right?
Yes.
I would think you would continue to work with that humane officer. I would want to.
I got a question though. If, and this is maybe a question that we have to, he works with the humane officer confiscates the dogs. Who's responsible for the dogs?
The humane officer.
Well, I think probably the town of Pownell.
Yeah,
I
well,
think it's, I don't think that's gonna
Usually we-
change.
yeah, well,
Or we are.
I would like something that,
The town of Pownell is always gonna be responsible for a dog that's confiscated in the town.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I'm pretty sure of that, Carl. Look at, right? We just went through that. The town of Pownell didn't confiscate the dogs.
Right.
The humane.
The state of Vermont ordered the sheriff's department to confiscate the dogs, right?
just asking the question. No, okay.
I understand, but it's,
Because if I read the law right,
that we're holding back.
if we read the law, if I read the law, and the law is that it's the state's attorney is the one that gets the money for us for reimbursement.
We have to file for restitution if we can.
Okay. Just that,
Sometimes it's pretty hard to get water out of a stone.
I understand that.
Unfortunately, it's sometimes pretty
It doesn't
hard.
have anything to do with this guy, we're here putting questions out, so.
Yeah, no, it's good. That's good. You know, they're good questions.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna ask what ifs all night, but you know, in these situations, does animal control traditionally transport that animal to our kennel here in town? Or,
I think so. No, I think it's also, I don't know.
Well, I would be careful with that because with that humane officer
Right.
has to fill out paperwork. Each person that touches and deals.
Correct, because the chain of custody.
I would just
Yeah, I think that's probably
leave
true.
it, probably the humane.
That would be-
the best, you know.
Well, I
it
think
would transport,
That would be,
that's preferred for me, I mean.
the humane officer probably is the one.
has to have chain of custody.
In any other situation where you find, or you get a call about a stray dog, you would do that. But in a humane officer, or a humane, you know, like an abuse situation, that would be the humane officer probably.
Or a law enforcement officer that's.
Right.
Excellent, that's,
So you're talking like chain of custody?
Mhm. Which we've already been through on this last dog case.
Oh, yes.
All right, so we'll bring this back on the 27th.
yep, you know, that sounds good to me.
You know, we'll look for an email and
And think about more questions or whatever you have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One question just came back, in terms of equipment dedicated, I know I've seen Leonard, we have a shed down at the kennel. Is this
we have some,
muzzles, I've seen the.
I think we have some transport crates.
Okay.
And the white gloves.
And the pole and all that stuff.
Okay,
Is all the stuff up here or is some of it stored down at the other?
I
the
think,
impression I got is down there.
I think it's down in North Pownell.
Okay.
I think.
Okay. Thank you guys for entertaining my.
Hey, thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank you. I'd rather get it out here and optimize everyone's time, but it would take all night.
Right, I wanted to be out
Thank you
there.
very much.
Thank you. Anybody else have anything for Eddie and our
Nope.
animal control comments?
Nope.
I think we're on the right track. I think we're totally on the right track here. And combining the two positions, I think makes total sense because they certainly could coincide with each other.
Quite nicely too.
Right, exactly. I think they blend in fairly well.
We may have to change the town vote or something, how we do it.
That's right.
That could be a figure down the road where.
That's another question for another day.
Yep.
All right, Hannah, any public comment?
Yeah, this is Chris. Willette, Park Manager for Pownell Estates. How are you
Can you,
guys?
Chris, can you give us your full name, please, just for the record?
Yep. Sure, for the record, Chris Willette, Willett, Pownell Estates Park Manager.
Hey, Chris, how are you?
Good, how are you? I remember meeting you a while ago, Mike, and
Yep.
you was one Eddie when back in the, I don't know, springtime. So I appreciate you
Yeah.
guys coming out to that.
Yep,
Hey, Chris.
yep.
Hey, Eddie. I kind of want to touch base just a little bit where you guys were just talking about with, the animal situation. So when I took over, I spoke to Leonard numerous times about what was going on down at Pownell Estates, and we all know that there's a pretty bad dog breeding issue going on down there. Dogs are unlicensed. There's too many animals in people's homes. Vicious dogs getting loose, regular dogs getting loose. It's just kind of a mess down there. But Leonard said in his role with the town, he was really limited. And he did mention, and I'm throwing it out there because I would love a little bit of guidance, right? So he did say, well, he actually said game warden, but it sounds like what we're talking about here would be animal control to a humane officer, and then from there, the humane officer would kind of spearhead what the next steps are or who else to get involved. Is that correct?
Well, we don't have a humane officer, so it would be the game warden.
Right, we don't have a humane officer in town.
Or in the county or nothing like that? I don't know how the hierarchy works.
It's a town, there is a humane officer in Stamford.
Okay.
I don't know if Bennington has a humane officer or not. So that I can't answer. We have worked with the humane officer in Stamford. And the situation that you're in in the park, I mean, I got a call about a dog down there the other night myself from the state police.
Yeah, they do. They call the sheriff or state police first, and
Right,
sometimes they come, most of the time they don't. So they're kind of like, what do we have to do here to, remedy this situation? That's why I'm inquiring.
right. Unfortunately, I don't think there's a whole bunch of things that the town can do to help your situation with dogs that are, somebody's got 15 dogs in their mobile home, right?
Right.
Unless the dog gets loose and our ACO is able to catch the dog. And if the dog's licensed, then unfortunately, we don't have a whole bunch of things that we can do other than give the dog back. We can't say, and I'm pretty sure I'm right on this, we can't say that you can't have 15 dogs in your trailer. Right?
That could be maybe a policy. Obviously, we can't.
That's
That's a policy that they can have. They
It's
should
a park violation. That's all.
Park
It's
violation.
against the park rules. Yeah, I mean, of course it is, but people don't care. So
You're in a tough spot with that one.
if the animal control officer comes by, let's say, and this just happened, I think we're talking about the same situation last night. I got all these pictures. I got this phone call. Hey, we just caught an animal. She was friendly, but it was a 1-year-old dog, and it was bred. I mean, it has mange. It's in really bad shape. So we call the animal control officer. He comes down. Someone has it because the owner is not around. Who knows what's going on there? Can he say this dog is licensed, but it's in really bad shape? I mean, does he still have the authority to take that dog, or just unfortunately no? It just needs to be reported to somebody else.
Realistically, I think it should be somebody else reporting it. I mean, I don't think we need to get the animal control involved every time that, if somebody feels that the animal's being abused or neglected, I would say I would call the humane officer, not necessarily.
So if I can
That's just.
add to, abusing animals, it's a criminal violation too. It's in criminal law, so you could involve law enforcement right off. But what I'm hearing, it sounds like they're not taking it on for those.
Yeah.
So you know what, and Chris, I don't want to do this and I don't want to cut you off, but
No problem.
because you have some valid concerns so what I'd like you to do, because I kind of made this policy at the beginning of this year in March, I don't want to get into a question and answer thing, and I kind of blew that out of the water tonight a little bit, and I'm just saying that I'm sorry. Could you email the town your concerns about that stuff, Chris? And we definitely want to work with you and try to help you on what kind of situations you're dealing with down there. But I made that policy at the beginning of March or, early March, and I don't want to, and I just strayed away from it with the questions and answers.
Not a problem. I can do that. Thank you.
Yeah, if you email some questions and you can, email them right to Tara and CC myself or any of the board members, doesn't matter. On that email, we will get you answers for your questions.
I appreciate that.
Thanks, Chris. And I apologize. I just made that policy early on and I don't want to veer from it and I already did,
Nope, no problem.
which is my own fault.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Good to hear from you again.
Likewise.
Any other public comment here?
No other hands are raised.
No hands? And I don't believe we have any executive time for personnel that I know of.
Nope.
Nope.
I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Oh, I was here about the commission, Conservation Commission.
You're good, Steve.
You're good, Steve. We've already done you.
We're done with you.
Yeah. I have a motion on the floor. I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Please, thank you everyone for attending and please make sure we sign these policies before we leave tonight.
Okay.
Yes, you.
Thank you everyone for
Thank
attending.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And sorry for the glitches in the.
Yeah, Steve, you're all set.
Yeah.